Catherine, how are people digesting the results of the first round of the vote?
Brazilians today are processing what is a very different national political landscape than has been in the past 4 years, when it was originally a Workers' Party president, then was impeached for a more centrist president. The person who came out on top yesterday is a far-right figure, Jair Bolsonaro, and it really was a more decisive victory in the first round than polls predicted. They said that he would get around 40% of valid votes. He got around 46 and also ushered in a wave of congressmen at the state and federal level as well. So people are today really trying to understand the new power structure in Brazil, and that's a far-right led Congress in which you have a large group of representatives from the Workers' Party, but you also have a large group from Jair Bolsonaro's party. He was able to mobilize supporters in a way that not just turned out support for him, but also put in a lot of figures who really defend the policies that he defends. A lot of those are hardline military measures, figures like ex-police and ex-military figures. And so those are the kind of political players that Brazil's Congress is going to be filled with, more so than in any time since redemocratization, which happened about 30 years ago. So Brazilians are trying to wrap their head around, the new structure and who is going to be a protagonist.
Now, Catherine, as you said, members of Congress were also elected on Sunday. So just give us an idea of how Brazilian politics will be shaped from now on.
So who was not reelected as much as predicted were more centrist parties. The PT is a center-left party. It had been moving to the center in recent years. And there's also a center-right party called the PSDB, which also lost a lot of representation in Sunday's elections. What that means is who was voted into Congress are figures more on the far left and the far right. So on the far right, a lot of these are evangelical congressmen. A lot of them are congressmen who are connected with donors in the military sector, with donors of ammunition companies, and folks who really want to increase the power of police in Brazil and have less civilian input on what security policy looks like. That's on the far right. And then on the left, we saw a lot of figures voted in who wanted to try to renew the left, going in a more progressive direction. A lot of black women were actually elected to Congress yesterday, both at the state and federal level, which is their critique of the Workers' Party, saying it didn't represent the diversity of Brazilians. But what's happened is now we have these two very different polls, and they're trying to understand now how they're going to work probably against each other in the Congress. And there is likely to be very bitter divides coming up about what policy will be best for Brazilians going forward. Bolsonaro's son, Eduardo Bolsonaro, was the highest voted federal deputy in all of Brazil. So the vote counts really is an endorsement of the far right today, and that's what people are trying to understand.
Clearly a lot to digest.